Hello and welcome back to our channel.
Yep. We're here.
Yep. Today is October the 4th. Yeah. Monday, October the 4th.
We're getting closer to Halloween.
Yep. For sure.
The weather's gonna start getting a little better, a little cooler.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for that. Even though I am feeling cooler nowadays than I used to, but
Well,
alright.
we always like the fall weather.
I know, I do.
Always have. Even when I was 500 pounds, it still felt good.
I know, but with menopause and losing weight, I'm just cold. I get cold. I get hot. I get cold. Oh, hormones are driving me crazy. Go ahead.
We got Monday, October 4th, National Taco Day. I love tacos.
Mm-hmm.
And
I thought you'd like that one.
Well, I like using a cheese crust so I can save the carbs
Right.
and still eat more. You have National Child Health Day, National Golf Lover Day, and International Animal Day. Golf. Yeah. It's like watching paint dry.
Tuesday, October 5th, tomorrow is National Apple Betty Day, which is what Apple Betty is the smells of fall. Apple, cinnamon, and like a lot of people like to say it's pumpkin spice, but it's not. It's the apple smell. It's not that pumpkin smell.
When I hear Apple Betty, I think of food.
Yeah. And then we have National Get Funky Day. We have National Do Something Nice Day and International Teachers Day.
I think you should do something nice at least once a day. It doesn't matter how big or small it is, but I think you should do something nice every day.
Right.
Whether it's for yourself or for somebody else,
right.
Just be nice, be kind. Then you have Wednesday, October 6th, National Noodle Day, National Mad Hatter Day, National Plush Size Appreciation Day, and National Cerebral Palsy Day.
No, that's International
Cerebral Palsy Day.
Right. Then on Thursday, October the 7th is National Frappe Day, National Chocolate Covered Pretzel Day, National Inner Beauty Day, and International Navaratri Day. It's a Hindu holiday.
Okay, then Friday, October 8th, we got National Pierogi Day, National Touch Tag Day.
Yeah, you know the kids game tag.
Oh, and International Egg Day. I eat eggs every day, so except for weekends we do a liquid diet, but 5 days a week I eat eggs.
Right. Then on Saturday we have National Moldy Cheese Day, National Leif Erikson Day, National Motorcycle Ride Day, and International Hospice and Palliative Care Day.
And Leif Erikson, I think
he's a Viking.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Viking.
Okay, yeah. And then you got Sunday, October 10th, which is National Angel Food Cake Day, which is some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
National Cake Decorating Day, National Handbag Day, and National Mental Health Day. International Mental Health Day. I'm glad you don't have an affection for handbags.
No, I don't.
I am so glad of that.
As far as that angel food cake, I'm working on an angel food cake recipe that is paleo and keto friendly. I'm working on that.
Like I said,
it's hard to do desserts with no carbs. It really is.
I'm just glad you don't have an affection for handbags or shoes.
Nope, I'm not. I do have quite a few bags. I really do handbags, but I'm not a big. I don't carry a lot of them. I really don't.
And you don't carry a handbag, period.
No. Well, sometimes I do, but not most of the time.
You don't like carrying stuff.
No, anyway. I don't. I get irritated just carrying my phones. All right.
Your phones. Wait, you got more. Oh,
my phone.
Oh, because I was saying you got more phones I don't know about. I mean, wait, where we here?
All right. First, with the disclaimer, this is not a channel focused on any specific diet or lifestyle, but we focus on providing information about all things health and various eating lifestyles. So this is relevant. The goal of this channel is to help people educate themselves so they can make their own informed decisions about what is right and wrong for them, not to tell people what to do or how to do it. This information is not a substitute for advice from a physician or a mental health or a health care professional. Consult a doctor and do your own research before making any extreme dietary changes, and take responsibility for your own health. Today, as the title of the video says, we are going to talk about food addictions today. What is a food addiction? The idea that a person can be addicted to food. Oh, I gotta take us off for a second. Just a minute. Let me move us out the way. Down here for just a minute so that I can read this. Okay, the idea that a person can be addicted to food has recently gained increasing support that comes from brain imaging and other studies of the effects of compulsive overeating on pleasure centers in the brain. Experiments in animals and humans show that for some people, the same reward and pleasure centers of the brain that are triggered by addictive drugs like cocaine and heroin are also activated by food, especially highly palatable foods. Highly palatable foods are foods rich in sugar, fat, and salt.
I can get the sugar and salt addiction, but the fat not so much. But I'm different.
All right, now let me put it back. What is a food addiction? Like addictive drugs, highly palatable foods trigger good feeling brain chemicals such as dopamine. Once people experience pleasure associated with increased dopamine transmission in the brain's reward pathways from eating certain foods, they quickly feel the need to eat it again. The reward signals from highly palatable foods may override other signals of fullness and satisfaction. As a result, people keep eating even when they're not hungry. Compulsive eating is a type of behavioral addiction, meaning that someone can become preoccupied with a behavior, such as eating, gambling, or shopping, that triggers intense pleasure. People with food addictions lose control over their eating behavior and find themselves spending excessive amounts of time involved with food and overeating or anticipating the emotional effects of compulsive overeating. That's why just this here kind of makes me think about when I eat or when I used to eat until I changed my mindset of eating as fuel instead of just to eat.
Well, some of this food addiction, it's a lot of understandable, but also, again, if you think you have a food addiction, but you have to look at your inner self, because some people, you included, I'm included, my mom does it, Marcus does it. I know a lot of other people that do it, that have this mindless eating when they're
Right.
not paying attention
They just
to it.
eat
Right.
to eat.
They're not eating to eat. They're just not.
Paying attention.
It's the same concept of when you forget to eat.
Right.
If you have something here, whether it's chips, whether it's apple slices, whether it's healthy snacks, non-healthy snacks, or in just anything in general, and you're sitting here focused on this, and you just,
Right.
you're not paying
really
attention to, right. And it doesn't have to be sweets or salt. It could be any kind of snack. It could be rice cakes for, and you're just sitting here just munching. That's different than food addiction.
Right.
So if you gotta look at yourself.
Food addiction is you
Different.
eat because of that pleasure sensation.
Right. Not because you're not paying. Because everybody knows when you get hyper focused,
right,
you either A, forget to eat, or B, you eat too much that's from front of you.
You're eating just because it's in front of you, you're not paying attention.
So before you assume that you have a food addiction, see why or when you're eating too much or too little.
Right.
I mean too much before you say, oh, I got a food addiction. No.
Right.
If you're sitting in front of a computer and you're hyper focused and you got, I don't know, asparagus in front of you.
Right.
You could eat too much of it because you're focused and you're not paying attention. So, again, food addiction is different than mindless eating.
Right. Food addictions, they activate that pleasure center.
Right. You do it to feel better.
Right. Like drugs. I mean, drugs do it. Gambling does it. I mean,
I'm a former gambler. I know.
Right. I mean, and it's just like any other addiction. And and I know a lot of people will say, it's food. You can't be addicted, but you can. You can. They have proven, especially sugary foods, activate that dopamine center, that pleasure center of your brain, and it's just like having sex, or it's just like.
I used to think I was addicted to sugar.
Right.
But I gave up extra, like granulated sugar.
Right.
I still have things that have sugar in it, like when I make my shakes, the Atkins are sugar free, but I put a little syrup. Right. I still have a little sweetness in my coffee, but I don't use granulated sugar.
Right.
So I still like the sweetness, but I don't have to have that extra sweetness.
Right. And see something here, it says, this last paragraph says, people who are addicted to food will continue to eat despite negative consequences, such as weight gain, damaging relationships, just like
or throwing
any
up,
other,
or
right, just like any other addiction. People do drugs because they want that high, even though it's damaging their entire life. Alcohol,
you see,
all
now you
different
gave me
type.
now you just gave me an idea for for something for me down the road. Addiction to, like, a whole conversation about addiction to exercising and weight gain, like with lifting weights. You know how to do the same thing. So
Right.
thank you for that.
All right, I'm gonna move us out of the way.
We don't have to
here.
read all of this though.
No, I just want to mention that there's 8 common signs and symptoms of food addiction.
Right.
Getting cravings despite feeling full, eating much more than you intended, eating until feeling excessively stuffed, feeling guilty afterwards but still doing it again, making excuses, repeated failures at setting rules, hiding eating from others, and unable to quit despite physical problems.
Well, you see, another thing, like I said, you know me, and I've said this plenty of times, I look at everything as an overall whole, not just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
And again, if one or two of these out of these 8 symptoms is, for instance, Thanksgiving and Christmas, which 3 of these out of all 8 will I associate with those 2 holidays? I can tell you right off the bat.
Eating until excessively
number 1,
stuffed.
number 2, and number 3.
Right.
Those 3 will happen to normal people on Thanksgiving and Christmas,
right.
because of the food. It's just naturally people eat
right.
much more than intended on those holidays.
Right.
So those 2 holidays aside, if this happens more than not, then
right.
that's something to look at. But again, you have to look at your inner self to find out when and why are you doing this. If you're doing all of these, or at least four or 5 of these a lot, then you got to look into it. But if you do like 1, 2, and 3, like 3 times a year, then you're not addicted to food. Right. Because everybody knows on Thanksgiving and Christmas you eat more than intended.
When you're doing these on a regular
basis, right,
then you need to look into it.
Right. Because eating till you're full on Christmas and Thanksgiving is kind of like what most people do anyway. So.
Right.
Most people.
Right.
Some people don't care.
More signs of food addiction. Here's a sample of questions that help determine. Do any of these apply to you? Do you end up eating more than you planned? Do you keep eating certain foods even though you're not hungry? You eat to the point of feeling sick. Do you worry about not eating certain types of foods, or worry about cutting down on certain foods? Do you, when eating certain foods aren't available, go out of your way to get them? You
see that last one? I'm like that with certain things. Like
right.
when it comes to like deli meat, I don't like edges.
Right.
So that's the only reason I do it.
Right.
No, I'm not talking about for me and food addiction, but like again, there's certain things that you can associate separate from food addiction. So again, you look at all of this as a whole, mm-hmm. and not just because most people are. What's that word that I can't think of the word? Eminem's use it in this song. People use it about when they make you think you have symptoms. Again, when the question, as a regular basis, like you said, it's if you're doing it on a regular basis. But if you have one of these out of 5, Munchausen by proxy or Munchausen syndrome, that you're doing this for, maybe because you want to get attention
instead of actually being sick.
So again, when it comes to food addiction, you got to look at, like they say in most symptoms, when you have 2 or more is when you start getting concerned. Right. Because if you have just one of those,
right,
it's not really a concern. You have to look to see, like, for instance, let me point out, keep eating when you're no longer hungry, or you end up eating more than planned when you start eating certain foods. Again, if that first one, you're sitting here at the computer,
right,
you got rice cakes, which people know or taste like cardboard.
I like rice cakes.
But anyway, you got rice cakes there, and you're hyper focused on a project.
And you're just putting things in your mouth just because it's there.
Right. And before you know it, you done ate 5 rice cakes in 2 hours, which is not, I'm not saying for like weight loss, because rice cakes ain't that bad as far as like weight gain, but they're still food, and you hate yourself for it, and you start beating, man, I ate 5 rice cakes in 2 hours. I don't normally do that. Again, you got to see what your situation is.
Right. Why you did it. It wasn't just...
I have a habit of snacking when I'm bored.
Right.
So I have to be careful. So what's next?
Next is more of the types of questionnaires. We don't have to read all of these, but this is along the same lines of the types of questions that doctors.
When it comes to any addiction, this is the same
right.
thing. Yeah, because it goes hand in hand with any addiction.
Right.
But I never really did like read that. You know, like the first one, the certain foods so often or such that you start eating food instead of working.
Right.
Again, addictions can be bad.
Right. And I mean, it's along the same lines as most, like you said, addiction questionnaires, and these are just different types of questions that would apply. And this again, more types of questions that doctors would ask you. Do you get anxiety from not eating certain things? Do you get agitation?
Like the first one, when they talk about psychological withdrawal symptoms, like caffeinated beverages. Right. When we first got together, I drank a lot of Coke.
Yes, you did.
And I used to always, even before
2 or 3 2 liters a day.
About 2.
About 2 liters.
About 1 to 2. About 1 to 2, depending on what time of day I opened it.
And not the diet stuff either.
The thing is, I used to say to myself, and before I met you, I used to tell everybody this. I was afraid to stop drinking caffeinated drinks because of headaches. I was afraid I was going to get headaches. I was going to feel sick all the time. I still drink caffeine, but I only drink it in my coffee in the morning.
When I first stopped drinking Coke,
but I don't think my coffee has enough caffeine as the Coke did.
Right. I mean, when I first stopped drinking Coke, because I was drinking 2 to 3 20 ounces a day, and it was causing a lot of kidney stones. Is why I quit drinking the caffeinated and the carbonated.
And
drinks.
I think it's more, and I think it's more the carbonated than caffeinated.
Right, and I did get headaches for say a week, but then they went away. Right. You know, after so long, and it's withdrawal. It really is.
Excluding caffeinated beverages.
Right, and I mean, it's all about withdrawal, and no matter what you do, whether it's drugs, you will go through that withdrawal symptoms. Right. You know,
some worse than others.
Right. And I mean, I've gone through withdrawals.
I used to say that before. I used to be afraid to cut down on eating bread because I was afraid I was going to miss that desire to have taste of bread. But now,
right,
I couldn't tell you the last time I ate a slice of bread.
I had a couple pieces of bread during the storm. Right, during the storm when we didn't have power.
As far as on a regular basis, we don't eat bread. That's by choice.
Right. I mean,
we found alternatives.
Right. I had the bread because people were giving us food. And I wanted to try it out. You know, during that time, I was sweating so much, and I was losing weight during that period because it was just so hot. We didn't have power.
Water weight, but you were still dropping, you know.
And I wanted to just test it out, and I was able to eat 1 piece of bread in a day.
You ate. You was able to eat a half a bun, but it didn't hurt you.
Right.
But we preferred our own bread because we eat more.
Now I make cloud bread. I make cheese bread, the keto,
and we can eat it without feeling the gluttony of being full.
Right. Like, and I mean, we
bloated.
Found we have found low carb and healthier alternatives.
And we can enjoy it, and more of we don't have to sustain from eating like one. But you can still eat 1 slice a day and be fine. If you can tolerate a slice of bread a day, go for it. I mean,
now I'm going to take us off the screen again because now I'm not going to go through all of this, but this is help for addictions and different places that you can go for, and it's just like any other addiction. They have Food Anonymous, just like they have Alcoholics Anonymous.
I never knew that. I never knew they had a
now you may have to look program. Right. You may have to go online and look for these type of programs, especially now with COVID, and you'll probably have to do it online instead of meeting, just like with everything else.
Some people might even go as far as trying what's that thing?
Hypnosis.
Yes. Hypnosis. I've never tried hypnosis, so I don't know if I could be hypnotized. One of these days, I plan on finding out, though.
I've tried to be hypnotized. I didn't think it worked. I don't think it worked.
Well, I'd have to have you back in the back to record.
To make sure that they weren't abusing you, or
well, not just that, to make sure that it worked, because I won't remember if it worked.
Right.
You're not gonna remember.
And then again, this is the same information that I gave with anorexia and bulimia. It's basically the same mental health and substance abuse administration that you can get in touch with. You can go to their website. The samhsa.gov website is a very good website when it comes to all different types of addiction and mental health help. You can go to this. They have the suicide prevention. If you feel yourself or you feel that someone you know is thinking about suicide, those are very good resources for you to look at, and those Links are always in our description box below.
And again, I'll say this again: if you think somebody has an addiction to food or any kind of addiction, approach it cautiously.
Right.
Don't just blurt it out to them, because you don't want to throw them into a peril and throw them like into a panic.
When it
Because
comes
sometimes
to
people, you point out to them in a heartbeat, they'll panic and
Right.
they'll just make things worse. So
Right.
try to approach it as
Yeah.
easy as you
it's
can.
a very sensitive subject, and
when
not
it comes
everybody
to any addiction, but yeah,
not everybody is willing or think that they have a problem or things like that. But if you think someone has a problem, you can look at some of the resources that I gave in our description, and some of the .gov website. They have some resources for you to, like, talking points and how to kind of bring something to someone's attention that maybe they don't realize it. So they do have that stuff on those websites. They are very good resources for people who have mental health or who think your friend or a family member has mental health issues.
And if you do seek help from a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a doctor or a nutritionist, and if you feel after the first few meetings that they're not helping you the way you hope, don't be afraid to find somebody else.
Right.
Because there's
not every psychiatrist is a good fit with every person.
So, it might take you might find one on the first shot. It's basically like love.
Right.
You might find it on the first shot. It might take you a couple of shots.
Right. I mean, I've been through a lot of different therapists. Not every different therapists have
different ways of approaching things.
Right.
And it's just like a doctor.
Somebody's method, one person's method may not work for you, whereas somebody else's
and
might.
Just don't feel pressure that you have to stay with that person.
Right. And most good therapists will, if you say, I don't think this is a right fit for me, they typically will help you
find
somebody
fit.
else.
Right. Will help you find the right psychiatrist or doctor or psychologist, because they're passionate about their craft.
Right.
They will want to help you find the right fit.
Help you.
Right. Just like a school teacher, anybody that's passionate about it, they will want to help you find the right fit for the situation.
Right.
I really believe that.
Yep. So, all right, that's going to be it for today. And please leave us a like and a subscribe. Click the little notification bell if you want to be notified when we upload a new video. All of the articles that I talked about will be in the description box below, as well as the substance abuse and mental health services and our website and our merchandise, which we had new merchandise go up last Friday. So I hope that you went ahead and took a look at that.
Friday? Yeah.
Yes. It went up on Friday, so please go look at that. We do have some sales right now that are going on with the new merchandise drop. So please go take a look at that. You can also go take a look at our website for other recipes, workouts, and mental health guidance. So leave us a like and subscribe, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, because 3:30 a.m. comes early.
Yep. Y'all have a nice week. Bye-bye.